Starting out today at the Logan River Trail by the golf course, and it's right along a pretty busy road, so it's a little bit noisy when we get started. Here's a nice map. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. And we have the requisite dog cleanup bags, and the dogs must be on a leash. Cigarette-free zone, so not the most welcoming entrance, but Logan City has an amazing trail, walking trail system throughout the valley, and I just wanted to give you a chance to see it. This is one of my favorites because even though it starts on a busy road and doesn't look particularly friendly, pretty quickly we get into an area that feels really pretty isolated, and there's a lot of wildlife, and it's just really beautiful. Still a little bit dark, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but this is a little bridge that goes over the river, and I love the sound of footsteps on wooden bridges for some reason. And then it opens up into the golf course, and I don't golf, but I've heard that this is just an incredibly wonderful golf course. I'm not sure what makes one golf course better than another, but if you're interested in golfing and you're in Logan, this is a great golf course. One of the problems with this being right next to a golf course is that sometimes you run into maintenance, and today seems to be a day when they're mowing, so we have a whole contingent of mowers. There's one there, one just went past, and I think there's one on the other side of the bridge, making it not particularly peaceful. So I guess timing is important to make sure that you come on a day when they're not mowing. That's one of the problems with coming early, is that they're more likely to be doing maintenance on the golf course. But again, it's a lovely golf course. Those mowers are awfully noisy, but I'm gonna get over where we won't hear them too much in just a second. Moving to a section a little bit away from where the golf course is, and I don't know how well you can see the sky, but it's just this lovely pink with a little bit of wispy clouds, and this is just fantastic. The water level in the Logan River is incredibly low right now. I think I mentioned that in some other videos, and I suspect it's because of the hot, dry summer, but it's still just incredible. And I think I might walk out on that gravel area there, but I wanted to just look at how clear that water is. It just reflects the tree line, and fantastic clouds. The sun's starting to come up. Typically I would be in the water right now, but because the water's so low, I can actually just kind of go over here into an area that is typically in the middle of the river. And so it's kind of fun. I've never been out here before. You can see this is a great place to come and fish. It's a great place to come and bring kids to cool down in the middle of a hot summer day. And again, this is usually all water. I would be head over my head. Well, maybe not over my head, at least to my waist in water during a typical year. But now I get to stand in the middle of the river channel and show you how gorgeous it is. And the clouds just keep getting prettier. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? What a beautiful sunrise. I'm gonna walk over there and give you an idea of what it looks like over there. All right, I was just over there on that gravel, and now oh my goodness. Isn't that just something? What a sky. You can even see the blue reflected in the water. And this is a really good place to come for bird watching, and a lot of people come here to fish. I'm gonna see if I can get over to the train tracks over there. This is one of those mornings where the sunrise is just so gorgeous. I hate to turn my back on it, and I'm trying to decide if I want to try and hop and skip over to here. Could be treacherous. I might end up with really wet feet, but I'm gonna think I'm gonna give it a try. The heck. Oh, those rocks are super stable. Woohoo! I thought that they might be wobbly, but this is awesome. I get to come over here and show you the train tracks. Now, these train tracks are still in use, but not a lot. I think it's primarily for the meat packing company. Uses them to transport the cows. But sometimes it's fun just to walk along the train tracks. And wanted to show you this side as well. The Logan River goes down that way. And again, usually this is a pretty swift moving river. But right now it's just a trickle. I might have to see if I can get down there and walk along it for a little bit because it's such a rare opportunity. I think I might. So I'm gonna try and go down there and walk along the river for a bit. In all the time I've lived here, the water level's never been low enough that I've been able to get underneath the train tracks. So this is a great opportunity to explore along here. Looks like this is about as far as I can go. And there's actually a dog park right over here. I don't think you can see very well, but right where that light spot is, there's a dog park. And just want to turn around and see what the view is from this direction. So I think I'm gonna head back and maybe I'll show you the dog park a little bit. So this is one of the dog parks that we have in Logan. A lot of people bring their dogs here. I don't bring our dog here because he's not a very social dog. He doesn't get along with others. But you can see they have a little bit of a course. They have some chairs for dog owners to sit in. They have water buckets and they have bags to scoop up the poop. And one of the things that I didn't show you on the way in because it was too dark is that one of the kind of quaint features of this trail is that it has a to-scale universe. So this is Neptune. And as we get further in, I'll try to remember to show you the other planets. And it kind of gives you an idea of the scale of the universe. In order to get back over to the nature trail, I actually have to go right along the freeway and across the train tracks. It's not very pretty. Here's a sign that says look. Probably a good idea if you're crossing train tracks. So here I am. This is the main road into Logan. And it says stop. I guess stop and look. It doesn't say what to do after you stop. There's the train tracks. And just go through here. And this is just one of the many connections to the trail system in Logan. And it's not particularly pretty right here along the freeway, but it is pretty darn neat that we have all these trails that connect. You can basically walk for miles and miles along nature trails. And some of them, do pop out into the world, but then they quickly go back in, as you can see. I'm already getting pretty close to being back in nature along the trail. And again, we have all the requisite warning signs. And it's still a bit noisy because of the freeway. But as soon as we go over this bridge, we're going to be back into a fairly isolated, peaceful area that really does feel like a nature trail. And even more so, I think, when the water level's a little bit higher, because the noise from the river will drown out the sound of traffic. But look at how pretty that is. And over this way, this is where I just was. These are the train tracks and the river. And I'm actually going to go back a different way because I want to show you, there's sort of a marshy area that I think is really beautiful. So this is a little slat bridge. And again, I love the sound that my feet make on it. But if you ever ride a bike across this, it makes the most fantastic sound. It's one of my very favorite parts when I ride a bike along here. And that's one of the nice things about this trail is it's it's paved and it is wide enough to ride bikes on. And so you get all kinds of people here. You get people pushing babies in their carriages. You get people riding their bikes. You get goofballs like me exploring all the affordances of the trail and going off trail and getting into trouble. There are all kinds of nice little places where you can get off trail if you want to and explore. And I just want to give you a view of the river. I also wanted to note that I think that the traffic sounds are a little more intense than usual right now because today's the first day of the university, and so there's a lot more traffic than typically. But wow, isn't that amazing? Right here in the middle of town. I really like these small respites that we have in the area where people can come and get away. They're not quite the same as going up into the mountains, but they do give you a little peace and tranquility in the middle of a bustling city. So I really appreciate that they're here. Plus they give, they're great wildlife refuges, not refugees. There's a great view of the golf course with the mountains in the background. I decided to sneak down to the riverbank to walk for a little bit, and I'm so glad I did because I found this little, it's like a carn nursery. Isn't it cute? Somebody set up all these carns on these rocks that are typically submerged in the Logan River. Aw, this is really cute. I love it. Isn't that great? And that's one of the things that I love about these trails is that you just never know what you're gonna come across. This made my day. Here's another one right out here. Just wanted to show you one of the little side areas. Oftentimes this is filled with water too, so being able to walk along here is kind of a treat. And I'm sure this is one of the breeding grounds for mosquitoes in the area because there's all this sort of brackish water. But I have to admit, it's beautiful, these swampy areas. As you can tell, I tend to be attracted to swampy areas. I'm not sure why. I just think they're really pretty. I heard something else tramping around in the bushes back here. I don't know if it's an animal or a person. There don't tend to be a lot of people who venture off the trail. So I suspect it might have been a deer. And the question is going to be whether I can get back onto the main trail. The perennial question facing me, because I always wander and end up having to bushwhack in order to get back to a trail. But yeah, eventually I'll find a nice throughway. This looks like one right here. Yep, look at that. Nice easy passage. Piece of cake. And I'm not sure how much I've shown you of the actual trail because I'm always jumping off it, but as you can see, it's a paved trail, and it's kind of nice in the winter. I think a lot of times they'll actually snowplow it, so even when it's hard to get out, there's at least this trail that you can walk on. I'll try and come and make a video during the winter, show you. This is Burdock, and it's actually a really beautiful flower in the summer, but it's got me. These burrs they grab onto fabric, especially. They love my leggings and my sweaters, and boy, they just stick, and they're prickly too. So this time of year, this is something to be on the lookout for, because there have been times where I've come home from a hike just completely covered in these, and sometimes they're hard to get out of fabric and they can tear it. Oh my, speaking of burdock, this is kind of the gauntlet. So I'm gonna walk through here and see how much I get covered. Luckily it's not completely dried out, but oh my goodness, as you can see, there is just a lot of burdock. Another fun thing off the trail is this kind of tree fort area, and it looks almost like a place where fairies and such could live. And somebody has put a platform up there, but really a lot of it is natural, the way it's formed, sort of a natural structure that looks like somewhere magical. So I'm inside this kind of wild tree fort like place, and there's a platform up there. So at some point somebody must have used this as a tree fort. And a couple years ago, I'm not sure how long ago, there was a lot of flooding. Maybe 5 years ago, there was a lot of flooding in Logan, and so the Logan City actually ended up coming through here and renovating. I'm not sure what you call it, but they cut down a lot of trees and they rerouted the river in some areas to give it more of a flood zone, so that in years to come there may not be as much flooding. But the result is that a lot of the trees were cut down, and so spaces like this that might have been really isolated from the trail aren't as much anymore because of all the trees that were cut down. Let me just show you how close we are to the trail. It's just right there. Now, before all the trees were cut down, this might be a really isolated area, but there really aren't any of those areas here anymore because of all the cutting down of the trees and the rerouting of the river. And it really did break my heart. I used to love coming here in the summer because it was so nice and cool. I realized I was going to show you these planet plaques. This is Saturn, but I go off trail so much that I think I might have missed some. So that's Saturn. I'll try and keep my eye open to see if I can see any others as we walk. We're back by the golf course, but I just wanted to show you that fantastic view. And yes, there's one of the mowers. I'm not sure if we can see him. I'll walk out here on the fairway a little bit. There he is. But what a great place to come and play golf if that's what you're into. Jupiter. And the sun's right behind me, so you can see, hi, my reflection. Here's Mars, and you can see it a little bit better because of the way the lighting is right now. And you can see the trail is right alongside of the golf course here. Here's the school bus, kids going to school. And I was just gonna walk along here to see the distance between Earth and Mars on this scale, which is, I believe it's about a mile scale. So here we have planet Earth, and then I believe this might be the sun, but I'm not sure. The sun's not exactly a planet. Oh, it's Venus. And there's Venus. Excellent. So here we are. We're at the end of the trail, and I'm gonna just check and see how far we walked. So that was 2.5 miles. Pretty easy, very easy hike, I should say. Mostly flat, except for where I chose it not to be flat. And I'm just gonna, before we leave, show you the trail map of Logan. And you have, as you can see right here. I'm going to turn the camera around. You are here. And let me just pan out slowly. And that's Logan. That was the Logan River Trail along the golf course. And again, it was about 2.5 miles. Really flat except for where I chose to go off trail. And it didn't take very long, probably less than an hour. So great little trail if you want to get a break but don't want to go up to the mountains. And especially if you have kids, this is a great one because they can run around and explore. And if you have a baby, you can push it in the carriage, or if you just want a quiet walk. And before we leave, I just want to show you the last plaque here, which is the sun. And the sun isn't really anywhere to be found right now. The clouds really are quite beautiful in the background, so let me show you this way. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the trail.